न तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we're doing text 47 today?
53, bro.
51. Okay.
53.
53.
53. Okay. Oh yeah, we have done 52 yesterday. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Tatto adhastat prajah sarva.
Vatto adhastat prajaha sarva.
Mithuni bhuya mayaya.
Mithuni bhuya mayaya.
Madiyaya bhavishyanti.
Madiyaya bhavishyanti.
Harishyanti chame balim.
Harishyanti chame balim.
After you give birth to many hundreds and thousands of children, they will also be captivated by my illusory energy and will engage, like you, in sexual intercourse. But because of my mercy to you and them, they will also be able to give me presentation in devotion. Sri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukavacha.
Ityuktva mishatastasya
Ithyuktva Vishutastasya.
Bhagavan Vishwabhavana
Bhagavan Vishwabhavana.
Swapnopalabdhartha iva
Swapnopalabdhartha iva.
Tatrayavantardadhe hari.
Tatraivantartite hari.
Shukadeva Goswami continued, after the creator of the entire universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, had spoken in this way, in the presence of Prajapati Daksh, he immediately disappeared as if he were an object experienced in a dream. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 6th canto, 4th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Hansa Guhya Prayers Offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha. Now, very interesting point. Please keep in mind this text number 53. After you give birth to many hundreds and thousands of children. Please remember this text, and then we're going to see something very extraordinary in the next chapter. Chapter 5, Narad Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksh. This chapter relates how all the sons of Daksha were delivered from the clutches of the material energy by following the advice of Narad, who was therefore cursed by Daksha. Influenced by the external energy of Lord Vishnu, Prajapati Daksh begot 10,000 sons in the womb of his wife, Panchajani. These sons, who were all of the same character and mentality, were known as the Haryashvas. Ordered by their father to create more and more population, the Haryashvas went west to the place where the river Sindhu, now the Indus, meets the Arabian Sea. In those days, this was the site of a holy lake named Narayana Saras, where there were many saintly persons. The Haryashvas began practicing austerities, penances, and meditation, which are the engagements of the highly exalted renounced order of life. However, when Srila Narada Muni saw these boys engaged in such commendable austerities simply for material creation, he thought it better to release them from this tendency. Narada Muni described to the boys their ultimate goal of life and advised them not to become ordinary karmis to beget children. Thus all the sons of Daksha became enlightened and left, never to return. Prajapati Daksh, who was very sad at the loss of his sons, begot 1,000 more sons in the womb of his wife Panchajani, and ordered them to increase progeny. These sons, who were named the Savalashvas, also engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu to beget children. But Narad Muni convinced them to become mendicants and not beget children. Foiled twice in his attempts to increase population, Prajapati Daksh became most angry at Narad Muni and cursed him, saying that in the future he would not be able to stay anywhere. Since Narad Muni, being fully qualified, was fixed in tolerance, he accepted Daksha's curse. Hare Krishna. So yes, so what do you think is the most extraordinary thing here? Anyone?
My only view will be how the Naraji was contradicting the wishes of his Lord. The Lord wished that he will have so many children and they will further
Hmm.
create the progeny.
Hmm.
Naraji every time came and stopped
Hmm.
that. So
Hmm.
this was the contradiction. And
Hmm.
mostly Naraji is such a elevated
Hmm.
person.
Hmm.
Why should he do it? Unless there is certain reason for that.
Hmm.
That means he was becoming a hindrance in the wishes
Hmm.
of the Lord.
Hmm. Very good question. Anyone else? This is a nice point.
Think
Yes.
same point, Prabhuji. For Narad Muni,
Hmm.
even though Krishna said that, all your sons will be following what you
Hmm.
are doing, though they'll be able to give me presentation, but Narad Muni's words to me seems over, like Krishna takes his devotees' words over him. So he allowed this to happen, that all the sons then went away and never
Hmm.
did what their father was asking him to do.
Hmm. So
So
the question stands, why did Narad Muni do something like this? Why did he go against the wishes of the Lord? Last chapter we have seen that Lord has engaged. Lord is pleased with the service of Daksha. I mean, Daksha is like a like a lusty man, but Lord is pleased with his lusty activities. So why is Narad Muni going against him?
Mahavaishnav.
Naraji himself refused to be a married man of material society. This is why he gave birth. After that, the Kumaras came. So I think it was in nature, and they were made for that only. That you should see that the
Correct.
whatever. Am I right? Can you hear me?
Hare
Whatever.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Santosh Prabhu, you were saying something.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I will try to attempt this question, Prabhu.
No, that's not a
Prabhuji,
question. This is my question to everyone.
yes, Prabhuji.
See, when we are studying the Bhagavatam, we are under the assumption that you already studied the Bhagavad Gita. So let me give you this clue. This answer is in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada has explicitly given this answer.
Prabhuji, can I answer before you give the answer?
Yes, please. I'm asking you. You have to give the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, why Narad Muni was doing the against the will of Lord.
Hmm.
Actually, Lord empower Daksha to increase the population, but somehow Narad Muni he went against it. So somewhere in this Prabhuji chapter, in this purport, Prabhupada has mentioned that Narad Muni had intention that after preaching to his son, he wanted to preach to Daksha. So he did that also. So first he preached to the first group of son, then the second lot. Then he finally said, now I will go and preach to Narad Muni. And finally he got the course from Narad Muni. So the intention could be. This is my understanding, Jamshan, that he wanted to preach to Daksha first, but he thought that let me preach to his sons, and then I will preach to the father.
Okay, that may be one thing. That is all right. I mean, Narad Muni being Narad Muni, he always wants to preach. That's his only, Narad Muni bajaya veena, Radhika Raman Name. So yeah, he's always doing that. But why would he hamper the service of the Lord? The Lord was happy with this lusty service of Daksha and his sons. In fact, he wanted Daksha to have many children who would do the same thing. So why was Narad Muni being a hindrance in the activities of the Lord? He could have gone to Daksha straight away and preached.
Isn't it Krishna says that you will get what you desire? Whatever your desire is will be fulfilled by him. I mean, so that was not Krishna's will for him to have so many progeny. That was his desire, and Krishna just said, yeah, go ahead.
Now that's one part of this answer. Very nice. Someone
And
else would like to try?
Prabhuji, another thing is the daughters. Also, Krishna, maybe it was the will of Lord that the progeny to be increased through the daughters of Daksha.
No, that's all right. I mean, he wanted hundreds and thousands of children. So daughters, sons, whatever. it didn't matter. But the Haryashvas and Savalashvas were really qualified sons. They were not ordinary
Yes,
souls at all. They were like super qualified for this.
Narada, Narada didn't want them to get bound in material life because he sees them able to do austerities. So he wants them, irrespective of what happens to him, he wants them to get out of the material life. So he sees them as souls of fit for liberation, and he then advises them such.
Yes. Yes. Anyone else would like to elaborate on this answer?
Hare Krishna, Nirupam Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
The whole objective of this material creation is to create an agency so that living entities can go back to Godhead. So, even though seemingly we feel that it is the will of the Lord that the dormant living entities can come into from passive state to active state, but the ultimate desire and compassion of the Lord is the living entities come back to the spiritual world. So Narad Muni is doing what is the supreme will of the Lord. So in fact,
Yes.
it may look apparently it may look he's not accepting the will of the Lord as but the supreme will of the Lord is all living entities. He wants them to come back. And that is his
Yeah. So if you remember Srila Prabhupada's instructions, Srila Prabhupada says there are two instructions of the spiritual master which can be disobeyed. One instruction is to take prasad, and the second instruction is to get married. These two instructions of the spiritual master can be disobeyed because the spiritual master is pleased when these instructions are disobeyed. Because that's increasing the austerity of the disciple. So Krishna, yes, that is correct. Krishna wanted the population to increase. Lord wanted the population to increase, but that's not the Lord's ultimate desire. If you remember the third chapter of Gita, at the very beginning of the creation, the Lord created the progenitors and blessed them with the process of yajna. Be thou happy with this yajna. So that you can enjoy this material world and peacefully and come back to me at the end of this. So the real objective, real desire of Krishna is to bring the living entities back. It's not his desire that living entities prolong their lives here in this world. The more they are enjoying the material world, the more they are prolonging their suffering. So therefore, Krishna's inner desire is always that living entities come back. So if you think that Prajapati Daksha is the son of Lord, then so is Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is doing a special duty. His duty is to deliver all living entities. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 71, purport Srila Prabhupada is writing, when Krishna says, and one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reaction and attains to the planets where the pious dwell. Before this, Krishna has instructed, before this, in text number 67, Krishna has said, this confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. So certainly these sons, Haryashva and Savalashvas, these 11,000 boys, they did not fall in this category. They were austere, they were devoted, they were engaged in devotional service, and they were certainly not envious of the Lord. The only problem was that they were ignorant. They did not know the ultimate purpose of life, but they were engaged in devotional service. So therefore, they did not fall in this category, point number one. And second thing is, as Srila Prabhupada explains in text number 71 purport, in the 67th verse of this chapter, the Lord explicitly forbade the Gita's being spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is for the devotees only. But it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class, all the students are not expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is here explained here that although everyone is not a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee of the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reactions and to become a devotee of the Lord. So you see, so there may be a risk. There could be demons also there. But a devotee takes this risk, that at least someone who is not envious may hear about the Lord and become a devotee and thus become free from this material nature. So even though that is generally going against the previous instruction of the Lord, still the devotees take this chance. And that's why Narad Muni broke the Lord's instructions and preached to the 11,000 boys. Hare Krishna.
It looks very logical what you told. But then what is Supreme Lord wanted to create this creation and wanted so much people to be their population. So that
So
was
many living entities are there to create this population. The Lord is not exactly pleased with this idea of creating population. Prajapati Daksh is such a lusty man that he'll keep on producing children. There is no end to his capacity to produce children. But these boys were especially qualified. Narad Muni, being a self-realized soul, could immediately understand their consciousness. And therefore he realized that these boys would be wasted in creating population. Therefore they must be delivered. When the Daksha gives birth to daughters, then Narad Muni does not go there.
Okay. Got your point. Thank you.
So sometimes you have to hinder the Lord's service to actually serve him. Yes, so shall we continue? Next one. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Tasyam sa panchajanyam vai Vishnu Mayo Pabrahm Hita.
Vishnu Mayo
Haryashva Samgyan Ayutam. Putrana Ajanayad Vibhu. Srila Shukadeva Goswami continued. Impelled by the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu, Prajapati Daksh begot 10,000 sons in the womb of Panchajani, Asikni. My dear king, these sons were called Haryashvas. Apratak Dharma Shilaste. Sarve Dakshayana Nripa. Pitra Prokta Praja Sarge. Pratichim Prayayur Disham. My dear king, all the sons of Prajapati Daksh were alike in being very gentle and obedient to the orders of their father. When their father ordered them to beget children, they all went in the western direction. Tatra Narayana Saras. Tam Sindhu Samudrayo. Sangamo Yatra Sumaham. Muni Siddha Nishevitam. In the west, where the river Sindhu meets the sea, there is a great place of pilgrimage known as Narayana Saras. Many sages and other advanced in spiritual consciousness live there. Tada upasparshanad eva.
One point.
Yes, Mehrota Prabhu, you have something?
Prabhu, I wanted one clarification. Why the children will call Harivash?
That's their name, Haryashva.
Why?
No, this is not mentioned here. Srila Prabhupada does not mention.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And similarly, they were this thing, river meeting. In present time, what is that location?
See, in India, most of the places were holy places at one point. This river Sindhu is especially a very holy river. It's the northernmost of all rivers, actually. Sindhu, it starts from somewhere near Pakistan occupied Kashmir and flows into Kashmir and Pakistan. Yeah, so it's a very holy river.
But how do you
especially when holy rivers meet the sea, that those places are especially quite auspicious. So we have in the south we have Ganga Sagar, we have
Yeah.
where Tapti river meets the sea, where this Krishna, where all these rivers meet actually. These are very auspicious places. Like we have this Rajamandri, there the Krishna river meets the sea. Then we also have this actually near Karachi area. That's where this place was, where Sindhu river meets the sea.
Yeah. So there I got what you're saying. You're absolutely correct. But they where the Sindhu meets the sea.
Pardon?
Specifically river Sindhu.
Hmm.
Where does it meet the sea?
Yeah. So what about it?
Any idea, probably any represent location where Sindhu meets the sea?
Yeah. This is somewhere near Karachi actually.
I see.
Yeah, like
Pakistan goes to India, back to Karachi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sindh River, like it's somewhere like it's somewhere near Karachi. It just kind of goes into the sea. But like it's kind of like now because of irrigation and all, it has practically disappeared.
And
Let's see. I'll just tell you where it meets.
Google it.
We can just see where it meets really.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's near Karachi. It's actually practically practically India-Pakistan border where it meets the sea.
That
But it's almost gone now.
Gujarat and Karachi. That must have
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it's a place called Gharo and Thatta, you know. So there is Mozakund, Mubarak, Karachi, Gharo. Gharo is the place where it becomes swamps actually. Then there is also KT Bandar and these kind of swampy areas. If you're coming from Europe, you can see it when plane flies over it.
Got it.
Okay. So we continue text 4-5. Tad upasparshanadev Vinirdhuta Malashaya Dharme Param Hamsaye Cha Utpanna Matayopyut Tepire Tapa Evogram Pitra Deshena Yantrita Praja Vivradhaye Yattan Devarshistana Darshaha. In that holy place, the Haryashvas began regularly touching the lake's waters and bathing in them. Gradually becoming very much purified, they became inclined towards the activities of Paramhansas. Nevertheless, because their father had ordered them to increase the population, they performed severe austerities to fulfill his desires. One day, when the great sage Narad saw those boys performing such fine austerities to increase the population, Narad approached them. Text 6-8. So, one more point to be noted here is that, these are Vedic people. So, these people are not like ordinary people. Nowadays, someone likes some girl likes some boy, and they'll just have sex and then have some children like dogs and cats. Therefore, the whole world is overrun with Varna Sankar. Nowadays, you see, most of the children are mentally retarded, really. We call it ADHD or autism or something, but they are just mentally retarded, plain mentally retarded. Their intellectual capacity is very poor. I mean, what to speak of spiritual life? These people are so stupid that they can't even understand basic material sciences. This is the reason, because children are born in excessive passion. It's a sad reality of our generation. And most of the children are mentally retarded. They don't really have much intellectual capacity. But if you see, to create good progeny, one must undergo austerities. So there is Garbhadan Sanskar, there is Brahmacharya, all these are followed so that the progeny is of high quality. Because such great souls are then attracted to the wombs which are purified by the process of chastity and austerity. So now in this age, at least the austerity is chanting of the holy names constantly. So these Haryashvas, So even though we see that Prajapati Daksha is very lusty, and his children are also expected to be lusty, nonetheless, they are undergoing severe austerities to purify themselves of lusty tendencies. So we see, so Prajapati Daksh may be very much inclined sexually, but still his consciousness is pure because his children are Haryashvas, 11,000 brahmacharis. Nowadays, it's impossible to have even one brahmachari son. And he had 11,000 sons who were eligible to go back to Godhead. So we can see the power of Vedic austerities. So we can also get an idea. So for those who are grahasthas or inclined to be grahasthas, or those who want to have children, this is the path to be followed. So while we may laugh at we may laugh at the tendencies of Daksha and dismiss him, but we can see that we have to work very hard to even attain this level. So this is a standard for a grahastha in the Vedic lifestyle. Hare Krishna. Yeah, text 6 to 8. Uvacha chatha haryashva
Uvacha chata haryasva
katham srakshyat vay praja.
katham sakshat vai praja
Adrashtavantam bhuvo yuyam
adrushtavantam bhuyam
balisha bata palaka.
balisa bata palaka
Tathaika purusham rashtam
tathaika purusam rashtam
vilam chadrishta nirgamam.
vilam chadrushta nirgama
Bahu rupam striyam chapi
bahurupam striyam chapi
pumamsam pumschalipatim.
pumamsam pumschapatim
Nadim ubhayato vaham
uvayato vaham
pancha panchadbhutam graham.
pancha panchadhutam graham
Pachid dhamsam chitra katham
dhamsam chitra katham
chaurapavyam swayam brahmi.
shaura pavyam swayam brahmi.
Very
Yes.
true.
Yes, please.
Thank you for this. Translation purport by Sri Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada teacher. Translation. The great sage Narad said, "My dear Harivasa, you have not seen the extremities of the earth. There is a kingdom where only one man lives, and where there is a hole from which, having entered, no emerges. A woman there who is extremely unchaste adorns herself with various attractive dresses, and the man who lives there is her husband. In that kingdom, there is a river flowing in both directions, a wonderful home made of 25 materials, a swan that vibrates various sounds, and an automatically revolving object made of sharp razors and thunderbolts. You have not seen all this, and therefore you are inexperienced for it, without advanced knowledge. How then will you create progeny? Purport. Narad saw that the wild, known as Harivasas, were already purified because of living in that holy place and were practically ready for liberation. Why then should they be encouraged to become entangled in family life, which is so dark that once having entered it, one cannot leave it? To this analogy, Narad Muni asked them to consider why they should follow their father's orders to be entangled in family life. Indirectly, he asked them to find within the core of their heart the situation of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Or then they would try to be experienced. In other words, one who is too involved in this material environment and does not look within the core of his heart is increasingly entangled into this energy. Narad Muni's purpose was to get the sons of Prajapati, Daksha, to divert their attention towards spiritual realization instead of involving themselves in the ordinary but complicated affairs of propagation. The same advice was given to the Prahlad Maharaj to his father, Bhagavatam 7.555. Tat sadhu mani asure parya dehinam tada samudrigam dhoyam asad grastha. Hitva patam garam andham upam vanam gato yad garam ashtre. In the dark world of family life, one is always full of anxiety because of having accepted a temporary body. If one wants to free himself from its anxiety, one should immediately leave family life. And take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan. Narad Muni advised the Hare Seva not to enter household life, since they were already advanced in spiritual knowledge. Why should they be entangled in that way? Hare Krishna Bhagavad.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yes. So, there are some very mysterious statements made by Narad Muni here. Kingdom where one man lives, there's a hole from which, having entered, no one emerges. A woman who is extremely unchaste, she has a husband, in that there's a river. So these points would be explained one by one. All these points would be explained in great detail by Srila Shukdev Goswami. How the Haryashvas understood this. Narad Muni just makes this one statement. Now, Srila Prabhupada begins, he starts introducing this verse here. So, Tat sadhu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhyam asadgrahat hitvatma patam grahamandhakupam vanam gato yad dharim ashrayet. So, now you see, what is Grahasthashram really? Grahastha. So, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling Kurma Brahmana? Grahe rahi Krishna naam nirantar laiba. Jare dekha tare kaha Krishnopades, amara agya hai guru tarahai desh. So, Grahastha ashram. So, Grahastha ashram. It is meant to be Grahastha ashram. So, for one who stays at home to just enjoy the material wealth, that's called a Graha Medhi. Graha Medhi. One whose intelligence is occupied with the topics related to Grahasthi. So, that is Graha Medhi. But one who lives in a household setup but tries to cultivate spiritual knowledge, that is known as Grahastha. Grahastha, one who stays in a home, but his actual activity is to remember the Supreme Lord. So if one stays at home and engages in devotional life with proper spirit of understanding, such a person is not obstructed. Kabhuna badhive tomara vishaya taranga, punarapi ei thani pabe mora sanga. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. So, kabhuna badhive, this material waves will not hamper you. Vishaya taranga, these waves of material nature will not hamper you, because your objective is to remember the Supreme Lord. Now, apparently, a Grahastha may also undergo problems of Grahastha life, raising, of cultivating his wife and children in bhakti, earning some wealth and trying to maintain them. So, one may think that this is difficult, and it is quite difficult actually. So, that's the austerity of the Grahastha ashram. One has to maintain one's wife and children, and at the same time be their spiritual master. That means a Grahastha has to actually rise above the level of a brahmachari even. A brahmachari is not supposed to be a spiritual master, but a Grahastha is automatically a spiritual master. He is the spiritual master of his family. So that's a very difficult situation. So certainly, but if one takes that responsibility seriously, one can advance in spiritual life. So Grahastha life is meant to advance spiritually. So one who is already advanced in spiritual life, why should he take a step back and come to Grahasthashram? And that is the contention of Narad Muni, that my dear children, you have already advanced beyond that stage. So why do you want to come back? So this is the contention of Narad Muni, because he has already seen these children perform hard austerities. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question.
Yeah.
They're saying since they are already advanced in spiritual knowledge, doing hard austerities versus advanced in spiritual knowledge, they might not be the same thing. One might be doing hard tapa, but still might not know the goal of life. So then why Narad Muniji is saying that they were advanced in spiritual knowledge?
See, Narad Muni saw that the boys known as Haryashvas were already purified because of living in that holy place and were practically ready for liberation. Practically ready. They were not fully ready, but they were practically ready. See, there is some, this is a very interesting concept that I'd like to introduce here. You know, when a person performs austerities, spiritual austerities, on his face there is a glow known as Brahma Tej. So those who have practiced hard, hardcore brahmacharya, their face starts glowing. You can feel their spiritual power. And especially for one who has already advanced in spiritual life, he can perceive this Brahma Tej in others. So Narad Muni could already see that these boys are purified by living in that holy place. So he understood that their knowledge was just lacking a little bit, but they were practically ready to go back to Godhead.
ठीक है जी.
Is
Thank
that
you so
clear?
much. जी जी. Thank you जी. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then we stop here today. Thank you very much. We continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Thank you.